Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we have Jordan here with us, and he's going to discuss, his journey and ordeals with his bipolar diagnosing. And I'll let him introduce himself here. Hey, Jordan, how you doing?
Hey, doing good. Thanks for
Awesome.
having me on.
Yeah,
Really
no problem.
excited to be here and do this and hopefully give some hope for anyone that is seeking. Because there are solutions to different things. Matt has found some. I have found some stuff that is just a huge breath of fresh air that I didn't even think was possible, but something inside me told me that it had to be. I don't know.
Yeah, I had the
Just
same
those to listen to.
conclusion. I think years into my beginning stages of being diagnosed, I was like, this can't be it. Like, the cut and dry method of taking pills and seeking therapy and just trying to bump your way through life and hope that you can manage. But yeah,
Yeah.
there wasn't enough information at the time of my diagnosing. But let's dive into yours, Jordan. When were you diagnosed, and was it bipolar 1 or 2?
It was bipolar type 1 with psychotic features. I was diagnosed in 2010.
Okay.
And yeah.
Were you hospitalized for that? Like,
Yeah. Actually, um, I was pretty detached from reality when I was diagnosed. Before that, it was about a manic episode that lasted about 3 months long. I became homeless and traveled across the country, hopping trains
yeah,
and doing that whole thing. And I really thought that I was on a spiritual journey. That's how I interpreted it. Growing up in the church probably had something to do with that. I was a missionary kid growing up
okay.
in the Middle East. Um, and yeah, unfortunately, there was no grounding there. Just, being blown around where the wind leads me, waking up, following what I thought was just, my intuition being guided by something that would lead me somewhere. But unfortunately, um, I ended up in LA around some sketchy people and kind of, that is a lot of LA in a nutshell. It's not the, the best place for someone that doesn't know what's going on in their body and
Yeah,
mind stuff.
no doubt.
So I started to escalate really badly and had thoughts of grandeur, a lot of religious type of thoughts that that whole thing that can happen to a lot of people thinking they're a prophet or something like
Yeah.
that.
I'd like
Um,
to I'd like to break that down right quick too, Jordan, because I too was raised in a religious like environment with the Jehovah's Witnesses. Now we were just associates, we weren't baptized, but we were in pretty deep, man, to gather the basic concepts of their understanding of the teachings that they provided. But I'm just curious to know what your perspective is on that, man. Like, I dug deep way back when, years ago, when there was little to no information about really bipolar besides textbook shit. But like, when I type in Google, what is the main cause of bipolar, or why do we all have the similar traits in common? The similarities of, thinking that you're a prophet, you've come here to save humanity and all that. Like, I wonder where that really thrives in the minds of these individuals. Like, what's your take, Jordan?
well, um, there's a spiritual component to it. Unfortunately, there isn't a shaman or someone within our community that knows how to help people process through
Yeah.
the energies that are being released when they get a taste that they've been living kind of an illusion.
Nice. I like the way you put that because I'm on the same, track of thought with this too.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that that process can last years. It can last decades, and um, and if you stop it short, you might be stuck.
Wait, that's it. It's almost like that
You
transformation
know,
needs to be complete 100% without interruptions. And by
it does.
intervening like that, man, I think that's really coiling us, in the rears. And who knows, maybe now, like, how long have you been without meds, Jordan?
About 3 years.
Okay, same. It's fucking strange, isn't it? How old are you, Jordan? If you don't mind
I'm
me asking.
35.
Okay, I'm 41, and I was diagnosed way back in like 98, 99, and
Yeah.
went through the ringers with meds, and yeah. But it's just peculiar to think that, what we're told the diagnosing is, the disease, disorder, mental illness, however you want to label that, it just doesn't fit with me, and obviously it doesn't resonate that way with you either. Just to take meds and keep going about your daily duties, there's more to it, and I still think that we're in the baby stages with understanding everything about this
Yeah.
disorder, right?
It helps you to um function to a degree where you're a productive member of a sick society.
Do you mean being medicated or?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for that.
That was my
Yeah.
experience with it. And I just think that um, the whole time there was an aching in my heart. You know, um, it stopped me from even crying. You know,
The
there's no
medications, you mean? Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, same,
there
dude.
was no emotional processing or outlet. It was just congested, like a full body constipation is my best description.
Yeah. No, that
Yeah.
sounds about right, and I can concur with that too. That's what I found. Uh, Something along the correlation of like, I don't know about you, but I suffered a thyroid issue, an acid reflux, and all that, and had to be put on meds for that too.
Mhm.
And it's kind of like, the food is supposed to be in the system, and it's not supposed to be sitting in there being stagnant. And it's meant to be broken up, dispersed throughout the body so that you can utilize nutrients, minerals, vitamins, and so on.
Mhm.
And when you have a certain medication, whether it be ribopizole, like Alzon, or however you want to pronounce that weird fucking name,
Omeprazole.
yeah, it totally prevents that productivity. Like it shuts off the acid in the stomach, shuts the pumps down. It's a pump inhibitor. That's exactly what it's supposed to
Right.
do. But it's creating so many problems. So I think the same goes in thought with medication that they just want to hamper down on you and get you to a state of, I guess, stabilization. But
Yeah.
it's I think it's almost like, fuck, man, if you hurt yourself and you want to have a cry as a child, you want to go through the emotions in that process, not to
Yeah.
have it stunted, man, to get on with it. But I don't know, how have you been making it the last 3 years, Jordan, without medication? Do you feel like you're stabilized now and able to carry on, or?
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that you're not gonna get slapped in the face. The difference is how do you recover from that? How long does that take? And is that life shattering, or is it just simply a minor nuisance? Because it's a lot of people think like we have a wrong. They think it's something that you just stop doing something, and then some people get cured when they stop taking meds and some don't. No,
Yeah.
it it it's something you have to prepare for and feel out as well. That's why it's difficult to when people want to read a book about doing steps
Yeah.
outside of the realm of developing the confidence that you're willing to handle your own emotions.
Couldn't agree anymore.
You know, It actually has more to do with letting go of attachment to things than it does to attaining anything. You're not attaining anything. There's a bunch of shit covering up a very healthy, happy individual. So what is it that's preventing us from getting to that is the question we need to ask, not what do I need to do to get somewhere out, to attain something, reach something. And that might sound like I'm saying the same thing, but it it really has to be something that we meditate on and feel out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope
So
that makes sense.
no, it does. It makes sense. Perfect sense. And I believe, Jordan, that you've done a lot of, shadow work in this 3 years upcoming to this point, obviously. It's not just something like, oh, fuck, I don't feel like taking meds, and what's the use? I'm just going to taper off or abruptly stop and see where we go. Like, oh my God. Like, I've explained in different videos about all the work I've done on myself, and it's a continuation. It just doesn't, you know, you don't have a time frame and everything is patched up. It's not like a vehicle that you're, getting roadworthy or whatnot, right? Like this is just ongoing.
And not being on meds isn't a source of pride for me either. People need to understand that. It's not like something that you're like, oh yeah, no, I'm off meds. It's just like I'm med resistant, and I think
Yeah, me too, man.
most people are.
Mm-hmm.
But when when you reach a place where you've done the work, I say that it's two things. I always come back to this. It's self-awareness coupled with broader perspectives, and that is an inside-outside job. There's situations where the broader perspectives are going to save you from overanalyzing things, and then there's times when you get alone where you need to go deep inside to shine light on what doesn't serve you, so that you can have a clear understanding of what is you and what is a false self. What is this thing? You could call it energy, you could call it a demon, you could call it whatever you want, but it's something that's created over one or multiple lifetimes and genetics. There's it's within the there's multiple levels of influence that this false self has become something we call a disease. And it can be intrusive thoughts. It can be behaviors that in hindsight you wouldn't have chosen to do. And that it's not a conscious entity. It's something we've given away our power to, and it's not our fault. It's not a conscious thing that led to that.
Yeah, I guarantee that if you asked, all the ones of the bipolar group or just people in general, did you choose to be this way? And their first answer is like, fuck no, man. I would have wished this on my worst enemies. Like, this is
I saw Demi
difficult.
Lovato doing it, and I was like, I want to be in that clique. No.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's true. It's. I think it's a lot to do with your upbringings, influences, as you mentioned, internal, external. As I mentioned too, with Gabor Mate's books, like the root cause of a lot of these illnesses stem from a very young youth, but we are carrying baggages of shit from generations of ancestors and stuff too. And you stated the facts right there. It's not our conscious decision making that has molded us to be this way. It's more or less everything we just tied in together in that, that big group of stuff.
And it's important to choose what we want to identify with and as. It's really important. I mean, a lot of people are against political correctness, and I'm totally agree with a big portion of that.
Yeah, same.
Because it's the same problem. It's you're stopping processing, you're stopping discussions, you're stopping all this stuff. So you're and liberation is becoming more and more difficult. But and transparency. But with Anywho, when we identify with something, a negative feeling, we call it, jealousy, anger, all these different things. I'm an angry person. I'm bipolar. I'm whatever we identify as. We're setting immense limitations on
Yeah, we
ourselves.
are. Those are
And
stories that we keep telling ourselves, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's more so there's a big debate about I am bipolar or I have bipolar. I think that
Yeah.
I am bipolar is worse than I have bipolar, and both of them suck.
Yeah.
It shouldn't
Fair
be,
enough.
you
You know.
it shouldn't. I don't care whether you can justify it factually. Can you
Hmm.
justify it beneficially?
Yeah, that's a nice outlook on dealing with this for sure.
Because there is a serious um when it comes to healing and honestly saving ourselves a lot of time, we need to take into account the different laws of nature, like the law of attraction and stuff. What we have a rubber band that our identity is attached to. So when we identify as that and try and break out of it, that's going to pull us back there and be a lifelong struggle.
Yeah.
When we can imagine, a liberated life and identify as a healthy individual, it pulls that rubber band from our old identity and it puts it into our new reality and pulls us towards that
Yep.
without resistance. And then whatever gets in the way, like that Shaquille O'Neal meme, just boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
because you know who you are, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and that's what I said in other previous podcasts that when you get to a point in life, you realize what you are and you accept it. You know, you've got your shadow work, work with the dark night, if you want to call it that, or whatever you may label
Yeah.
it. You get to a place where you don't need validation confirmation. You're just
Oh,
being, the
no.
essence
Yeah.
of being, and the path to least resistance. And it's like, fuck, whatever, I've been through it, so cool. On to the
I
next
mean,
storm, right?
yeah, the validation thing is a real problem. People want a community to relate to and stuff, but,
It
um,
actually makes the impact worse, man, in a way. Like from what
it's
I've read, you
so
know.
much worse. And honestly, I've got to give a disclaimer. If you're serious about healing, whichever way you want to go about it, prepare for resistance.
Yep, big time.
And it's the thing is, you'll strengthen your kind of ability to deal with that, or how much, what's the word? How much credence or how much credit you give to things. It won't mean as much, but it's still um you know something.
It's all good. Um, so, what could you shine some light on for the individuals out there that might look into the idea of tapering? You know, because I often say, do it with the aid of a psychiatrist. You know, or at least let them fucking know this is what you want to do, and if you do so, just keep tabs so that you can monitor your blood levels and just how you're feeling generally, right?
Yeah. It is important to have good communication with a psychiatrist, and especially a therapist. I have a therapist um that really believes in the ability to process emotions in the rawest form, and also does parts work.
Nice.
That was a big beneficial aspect in me. I could actually feel a physiological shift and a sense of liberation um, through doing different, processes with parts work. So.
Right on. A quick question, Jordan. Do you meditate at all? Is that something that's a daily thing for you, or is that kind of like
You
not
know,
necessary?
um, if it was necessary, I'd be screwed.
Love it. I do simply just because I find for myself, man, it allows me to more or less be constructive on my approach to what's coming at me at that present time. Whereas before, I wasn't, it was almost like there wasn't a filter. I just reacted, you know. And maybe this is just trial and error after being off meds for so long and realizing where my true potential lies and how to be productive, you know, in those situations. But I do find solely for myself as an individual, meditation brings that self-awareness and that essence of being and the present, being in the present, and almost able to put that fucking life button on hold. Ping, just hit it for a moment and go, okay, let me analyze and speculate before I react because I don't want to hurt somebody or you know,
Right.
create a magnitude of negativity for
Yeah.
myself in that
And
party. Yeah.
yeah, that so that negative force, that energy that we've been talking about, that um we get sucked into that and we identify it and we come from it. And meditation is really the only escape from that.
Yeah.
You know, I don't. It doesn't matter um, what just the act of stopping your thoughts and calming down to get a clearer perspective on things is important because if we come from the same life level as the one we're trying to fix, we're just
Yeah.
going to be throwing rocks at a landslide. As
Pretty much, right? That's just, you know, a slippery slope when dealing with those scenarios with that same mentality and mindset. I found too that diet was a big thing for me. As I mentioned to you, like we were supposed to podcast here the other day, and full heartedly I do this occasionally. You know, I smoke weed at night, right, to help sleep and whatnot, and just it brings me down to that centered, grounding like level for me anyway. And it's kind of funny because I actually hid a bunch of candy for my fucking self, man. It's pathetic, right? Fucking grown man. I gotta hide shit on
uh,
myself. And I'm
uh,
here,
reminds me of that movie Heavyweights.
yeah, right? I'm here playing a game and I'm like, fuck, yeah, I got a cluster of chocolates and M&Ms and all this good shit. And I'm like, no, no,
Yeah,
no. I'll put that on hold and save that for another time. But dude, I dove into that heavy, man, and it fucked me up. Like I can therapeutically spit it out of how quick I can feel the negative effects of food. Like it affects me on so many different levels. It's nuts. And
dude, I had Taco Bell at like 10 o'clock last night.
brutal, man.
And threw a wrench in the mix. It definitely it definitely didn't put me in the zone.
No, dude. It fucks me for days. Like even today, I was telling my wife, I was like, God damn, man, I feel lethargic, shitty, just worn out. And you mentioned about doing a podcast. I'm like, right, yeah, I see what I do that. So I needed some time to prep and get ready and just like trying to rejuvenate myself here, man, right? But
Yeah,
that I really feel that that affects everybody on a global level, on a negative manner. Like I get irritable, cranky, moody when I eat sugar. Like it fucks me, man, right?
yeah,
Yeah, and it makes me depressed. I mean, I'm not a character who's you know solved the riddles with this bipolar disorder. I just simply managed to navigate by my own means. I don't have a psychiatrist or therapist. I kind of wish sometimes I had a therapist just to reach out and not to you know feel like I need to be brought back into the realm of you know the psychiatric pharmaceutical injury industry and all that, but just to balance and reflect ideas and opinions off, you know, to
yeah,
see where I'm at that point. Because I still do suffer periodically from what I would call almost like moment to moment depression. It doesn't linger for days. It could be just hours, and I'm like, fuck. I'm like, wait a minute. But
yeah,
then what I do is I take my brain, the mentality that I'm viewing life through the lens at that time, I switch it. I go, you know what? Fuck. All I'm doing right now is victimizing. You know, I'm not
hmm
happy and content with the way things are running right now, blah, blah, blah. Fuck it, man. It's a storm. It's going to blow over. And when you realize that you don't have to be attached to your thoughts and your ideologies, man, it's all bullshit, right?
it
You're not
is.
your mind, you're not your thoughts, you're not your body, but, you know, that's a whole different spectrum for people to start gnawing on because, you know, it's Well, fuck it, maybe not, man. We were talking about spirituality. It's coincide with this whole ordeal of mental illness, if you ask me. And Sean Blackwell, he was on a podcast. And he talks about the spiritual emergencies, and
Mhm.
I feel the same. We're just coming it from a different lens through the Western side of things, man. And I think we're tackling it wrong, as you mentioned with the shamans. We don't have
Yeah.
somebody there to navigate it in a therapeutic way. We're just being bombarded with drugs and
Yeah.
hospitalizations, and then we seek out help through our peers in groups. And
Yeah.
that can be a benefit, but it can be hindering to the progression of somebody's health journey, man. And
Yeah. And even if, the whole bipolar symptoms go away for the most part, um we're still going to be sensitive people.
yeah,
And that, and that the difference is your you can become a sensitive person that knows how to navigate an insensitive world.
yeah, true story. Yeah, I still find it difficult, bit of an empath, and I attach myself to others because it's like a reflective mirror image, depending on who's before me. If they, like, I can walk into a room and sense if something's not proper or correct, or if something went array with a bunch of people, and it's
Yeah.
unsettling, right?
Right.
But at the same time, that keeps me on my toes,
Right.
So I look at that as a gift, not a curse.
I agree, and looking at it like that is almost a necessity, because now, if I am to get triggered, for lack of a better word, it's kind of like, ooh, I have more growth to do.
Yeah, that's
You know
it.
what I mean? It's a
You're aware of
totally,
it.
yeah. It's I don't know. I grew up skateboarding,
Same,
and
dude.
uh,
That's awesome.
yeah. So when you've got like another stair to add, or a bigger rail to hit, like, it's you get that fear, and then what? Sorry. And then you just do it anyways, and then you get comfortable with it.
Yeah,
Um, and you know that the scarier it is, the better you're gonna get.
yeah.
I don't know if that's a good analogy, but
No, no, that makes sense though. It does. Like, you know, well,
you get used to overcoming fears as part of your lifestyle.
yeah,
Because it we're gonna be better off in 5 years than we are now, I
yeah.
believe,
I think
with
so
that
too.
mindset. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I try to analyze every 3 to 5 years to see if I've made progression, or if I
Mhm.
stayed stagnant, or if I actually repelled back into the past, right? And if I don't see a growth within that time frame, then everything I've done feels like a failure. To some, it may not, but to me, because I know where I came from, I know where I am, and I know where I want to be, right?
Right.
So yeah, it's
That's good.
yeah, I think so for sure, man. You almost have to have some type of goal set in mind. For the ones that are still on medication, like kudos. I mean, if you got to do it, do it. But if you're looking, into the lifestyle of leading a path without meds, there's all kinds of avenues you can take, man. But like I say to anybody, baby steps. Don't just
Baby
take it and
steps.
tackle it, man, and think that you can do it and
Man,
you're fucking, you're cured. Like, we're not
and
cured either. I think we're all broken in this world. Yeah, I mean, we're all imperfect. We all need to heal. We just got different ways of operating, and everyone has different needs. And yeah, do what works for you and fits best for you, I suppose.
yeah, it's a really complicated thing,
It is.
you know.
Oh fuck,
I
dude.
don't want
Even
to.
I have a hard time. Sorry, man. I have a hard time breaking it down, even in these podcasts, because everybody's so uniquely different. Like, I'm just casting out what works for me and hope that people can extract and discard what works for them through my opinion and through, my guests and what they've had to endure. So if you just take those little bits and pieces, man, and implement them into your lives and integrate, hopefully it's a benefit. But sorry, dude, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, 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 no. Thank you. Yeah. Um, because I could write a book about how everyone designed like me can succeed within that, what we're
Yeah,
discussing.
yeah, yeah. I know.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah,
But um, yeah, there's so many aspects. I think that the more um, the more that I experience the different things that are going to come at me and kind of expect it and I'm prepared for it without, wasting any energy expecting things bad, just dealing with it when it happens.
yeah,
Um, I I'm realizing that how it almost requires a whole entire new way of looking about it because we're taught that it has everything to do with a brain chemical
yeah. I
imbalance.
call bullshit on that, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, chemical
immensely.
imbalance.
And here's the issue um, is that well, there's not much evidence for that, anyways. But
Yeah, it's true, right?
to
Where's the
be
brain
honest,
scan, the blood work,
there's a,
man?
there's a brain scan, and you can see. Okay, so mania will cause a hyperactivity in your brain. So you can take a brain scan of that and be like, oh, look, it's hyperactive. Um,
But wait a minute, could you not do that with somebody that, say, won the lottery or was getting
yeah,
married or something? You know what I mean? Like that's
you could,
hyperactivity in different
and
magnitudes.
but
But
the issue is we're dealing with symptoms, and we're not dealing with
yeah,
what causes those symptoms.
exactly,
So
dude.
when your emotions are a certain way, it affects your
Chemistry or whatever.
neurotransmitter,
Yeah,
however things are shooting, and you can have um you can gain I don't want I want to say gain control because that's something people understand, but that's the
yeah,
opposite of letting go, which is what it truly needs. So
yeah. It's true, man.
becoming skilled
Excuse me.
at um at not feeding negative emotions and actually destroying their momentum. Um, that can happen through simply stopping, take a deep breath, and just look at something and question its validity in your life.
Yep.
And after a while, what you'll take turn a mountain into a molehill.
Yes, exactly. And that's what I stated about meditation. It allows you to hit the reset button and to react differently, right?
Mm.
It's not for everybody, but man, I'm telling you, dude, like it's blowing up in the
Is it
scientific
really not
research.
for everybody though?
Yeah, fuck that. I retract on that, man. I think it is for everybody, and I think that you should
because
practice it.
just because I don't do it very often like I should
Yeah,
doesn't mean it ain't fucking for me
yeah,
because
dude.
there's levels of enjoyment in life and meditation
Yeah,
is a surefire way to I mean they I don't know if you do believe in brainwave frequencies the happiest people on earth are Buddhist Zen monks and stuff.
yes, my God, man, I read about it all the time, and this is, they're even teaching it in the schools here in Nova Scotia, which is kind of cool. Preschoolers are learning how to sit and meditate, self-awareness, mindfulness. I think
Well,
we need to incorporate that, man.
honestly, I wonder how many kids are never going to have to even have a first episode because that whatever they
Yeah,
want to
buddy.
call won't even have to happen because they're being raised with the coping mechanisms that
Exactly.
we have to unlearn shit to get to.
I know, it's fucking frustrating. Like, I'm pissed, or I should say, I was pissed previously with that idea because I thought, fuck, here I am after all these years, 20 years into the making, give or take, taking meds, kidneys destroyed, fucking almost died multiple times because of it. And now I'm just learning how to cope with it all. But at the same time, I can't take that all back and say I never wish I endured it because it's created me to be the individual that I am. It's carved me. But
Right.
now I'm a tool for myself and others, hopefully, man. So yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a blessing, man.
And And, especially when you go through having episodes ruining your life and messing up the people you love and care about too.
Yeah.
Man, the shame and guilt and stuff that you accumulate over time, just like the weight of the world. But it's important to um never look to the past to fix a present issue.
No, that's true. You can use some of those tools that might have helped you, but
Yeah,
you're in a different, uh,
yeah, and
different time. I don't even know how to put that, man, because I don't look in the past or the future. I'm always just trying to stay present. It's fucking hard, though. Even when you're showering, just to be present, man. Don't allow that monkey mind to fucking reel off and have 1,000 thoughts, which we typically do on the average anyway, each and every one of us. But yeah, if you can just center all your attention, even if you grab your hand, man, and just, like I do this to circulate blood to the brain because I get circulation problems from all the fucking meds over the years.
I do that to get rid of headaches.
Yeah, that's a good thing
Yeah.
too. It does. Yeah, exactly. Index and thumb there, right? But yeah, it does help circulate blood to the brain. Um, I've been watching and listening to a lot of podcasts about gut health and stuff too, and the microbiome, and they're saying that a lot of these things are what needs to be repaired. Your gut health, man, to incorporate a better environment for you to thrive, as an individual, and to be positively assertive in circumstances of life that tend to be a little wonky, if you will.
Yeah.
Um, but my fuck, I still got a ton of work. This 3 years, I'm still in the baby stages. I don't give a shit. I can openly
Oh,
say
me
that.
too.
I'm comfortable
Me
with it.
too.
Yeah,
I
but uh,
yeah, I've come a long way, but
yeah,
there's still so much further to
to do.
further to
Yeah,
go. There's so much more to let go of, so
yeah,
much more to unlearn. Um,
big time.
and yeah, I don't actually. I used to be really health obsessed. Um,
Same. Well, yeah,
like
still, you said
extremely
fucking ego, man,
into
right?
yeah, like into nootropics, into all kinds of different things. Trying to figure out what kind of herbs are going to help and this and this and that, and
Yep,
it's almost just like it I don't know, it's just another form of the same model
it is.
in a way.
Yep.
The whole gut health thing though, I just got some ion biome. So we'll see how that apparently it helps the communication within your gut microbiome,
Nice.
stuff like that.
Well,
So
see, that's the big key factor here. People don't realize,
yeah.
I mention it all the time. It's the primary brain, your gut, the
Mhm.
microbiome, man, all that bacteria, good and bad. And if you don't have
Yeah.
things thriving in there, then you're all fucked up here because it's the secondary storage unit. And
Right.
I'm all about fermented foods, probiotics,
Good.
pro and pre, and but I'm still, I mean, fuck, I'm human. That's why I
Yeah.
mentioned about eating shit food the other night. Going, I'll suffer it out. It's
Mhm.
funny though. It's almost like being an alcoholic. You drink for a weekend, you're like, fuck, I'll never do that again. But you end up doing it again anyways. I don't know if we're hardwired to be self-sabotaging or what, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'd rather indulge in a bit of food than drink like you used to. It's
I
2 years
think
sober
that
too.
you know um I'm going to make a shout out to the most probably one of the most beneficial and impactful books that I've come across. I even lead a class on it. Is The Secret of Letting Go
Oh
by Guy
shit,
Finley. Yeah, it's
dude, nice.
it is money.
Yeah, man.
Um, it basically um helps with letting go of any emotions and behaviors and stuff that don't serve us
Yeah,
through you know try meditating the moment that the urge for something that is unhealthy kind of
perfect.
pops up for me. But yeah, I think, yeah, I like it a lot.
I'm gonna have to. Well, I'll drop that in the description box below too after our podcast here. Yeah, fuck. That happens quite steadily. Get a thought and it's dispersed.
Dude,
Is
all
what
the
it
time.
is. Yeah, I know, right? I wonder if that's something to do with the medications and all that. Because I mean, shit, that created a lot of blockages for us. I don't care what anyone says. That numbed me to death, dude. I was a emotionless zombie just walking around. I felt the same like you did. Couldn't cry over things. I'd get angry though. Fuck, I'd be full of anger, man. Right? Popping off all the time and just wondering like, okay, well, that's what I was gonna talk about. I brought myself back. Cool. Um, Emotional triggers, man. Like things that set you off. If you can just analyze that situation, whatever it was, somebody brought to you, whether it be in a physical or emotional form, or if they vocalize something, and you're about to react in a negative manner, if you can just slam the brakes on from it and go, wait a minute, why do I feel triggered to be angered towards this individual or about this circumstance?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's something that we were taught at a young age. When you're a baby, you cry for something, you got milk, you got your mom's boob, food, whatever it may be, right? So you learn that, man, those ways of being in order to get what you wanted in life. And I think that's all we're really doing in the form of hate, anger, and shit. You just
Mm-hmm.
screaming like a little child, man,
It's yeah, it has its it has its purpose. It's not the lowest emotion. It's a cover up emotion.
Yeah, dude.
So it
Yeah.
protects us from going into deeper things like sadness or, embarrassment, a lot of different things. But it will drain us physically,
Yeah.
mentally, emotionally, and have a negative impact. And I think it's important to really meditate on if your actions are good for you or the person you're angry at.
Mm-hmm.
If your
Perfectly
emotions
said.
are good for you or that person, who do they benefit? Because if that's your opponent, then they're winning
Mm-hmm.
in
Yeah.
that
They're sucking the
moment.
life force right out of you, and you're
Yeah.
not even aware of it. You're giving your power away to these people, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And I think ultimately, important to, you know, give as little emo- as,
Fucks.
as little fucks, as little amount
Yeah,
of
dude.
energy away
Yeah.
as possible, because mania and depression is really like a depletion of energy.
Big
Um,
time.
because our life force has been sucked out of us, and a lot of situations can trigger that. And um, it's important to conserve our energy,
Yeah.
um, and even being a liberated person, so not to waste energy trying to conserve energy. But
Yeah. I got a
you know,
naturopathic doctor, man. He says, Matt, you're all or nothing. I'm like, yeah. And I find it difficult, Jordan, honestly, to be, a medium, how can I put it? Just to regulate my energy levels. When I get excited about something, fuck, I get hyped, man, right? Not like, that manic label that we toss out there, but just like, fuck, yeah, here we are, let's do it. And then I'm depleted. I'm fucking sapped. I'm going, shit. So I'll put out all that energy in one day, and they be fouled up for at least 2 or 3 more days, right? And you
yeah,
can see it, man. I get toasted in the eyes and everything, like right gooned up. So, but perhaps it's because all those years, everything was covered up. I wasn't able to you know, perhaps tap into those energy levels in. I don't know about you, but I was quite lethargic even, on those high levels of lithium and stuff. Um, Still proactive with weight training and being physically active, but I'd reach a point where I just drop off, and it wasn't testosterone issues. It was simply, I think, the medication, man. Like it alters so
yeah,
many things in us, we're just chemicals, hormones, and stuff, but yeah.
yeah, I agree. It's with with the depression thing. I found that it's it's one of those things where I wouldn't tell anyone to rush it, but when you come back up from it after you've rested for the necessary amount of time, shoot, it might be a month, it might be 2 months, who knows, whatever it is. And it's important not to exhaust more energy during that resting period where we let our mind
Yeah.
go.
Yeah, it's kind of
So
like
it's
being
not,
sick with the flu, right?
yeah,
You're not gonna get up and do a bunch of aerobics or, fucking cycle 10 miles or some shit. You need to conserve that, and that's part of the healing too. I think in that state of depression, right?
Yeah, yeah. And it's about when I get up from this, do I have I been assertive with the people in my living situation so that they understand my plan
Mm-hmm.
and that it might take a long amount of time and how I want things to look within that so that you can actually recover probably faster in the most beneficial way. And then when we do come up from that, um, it's important not to make the same mistakes that got us there.
Yeah.
And that, and it's really also important because when I say the word mistake, we have this notion of good and bad, right and wrong, all that stuff. Throw
They
that
don't even exist, right?
entirely. There's beneficial for you and detrimental for you, period.
Yeah.
That's the only lens that needs to be like considered.
Yep.
Um, so and so with depression, I found that there are some different things that have helped me pull myself out of depression. And you know, Sean Blackwell is a big fan of holotropic breath work,
Yeah.
and breath work for me, it's not necessarily as exhaustive. It can take some energy to get there.
Oh, it
That's
does.
like going to the gym every day,
Yeah.
but it can increase the prana in your body, and your immune system will benefit from that. And it can really pull you out of a depression a lot quicker when you feel it coming on. Sometimes I felt depression creeping back in the past, and I did some intense like breath of fire,
Yeah, man. Hell
and
yeah.
it almost feels like kind of a kundalini.
Yeah. It's like a
It's
fucking
a
buzz, like a high,
it
right?
is you are getting high on your own supply.
I do.
It's
Wim Hof.
definitely like God's free whip it,
Yeah,
you
it
know. And it's nice because it really puts you in the now
does.
and can energy. I was depressed for going on like 2 weeks once, and I did some breath work. Not intensely depressed, just like
Just
when you
kind of
get
bummed
frustrated,
out,
and then
man.
after 2 weeks you realize I've
Yeah,
been in kind of a funk,
yeah, dude.
and not exercise or anything. I just did breath work and then just jogged for like an hour. Like after that, with
Shit.
when you have depression, is really difficult to do,
It is,
but
man.
all the difficult feelings and all that crap was gone. It just
Yeah.
really pull you out. So for depression, that one uh, has been a huge, just kind of nice tool to know that the power can be
Yeah, man.
in your hands to kind of lift you out of that.
That's it. All the tools are invested in us, and a lot of people take that for granted and think, it's a bunch of fucking woo-woo foolishness, but it's not, man. Like, I know
Right.
for a fact too, grounding yourself, being in nature, these simple
Oh,
things that you can contribute to your better
important.
well-being, man. Cold showers, like I
Oh,
started
people.
that. Oh, dude, it's hardcore, man. I started that probably 4 or 5 years ago. I was doing it 3 times a day, man. And if you were bummed out, you jump in the cold shower, whatever you're thinking about in a negative manner, gone, totally gone. You were
It
just,
totally sucks when you're doing it for a while. Actually,
yeah.
once you start to keep doing it, you're like, it's not a big deal because
Yep.
I've always hated cold water.
I
But
still do.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's like the most grounding thing ever.
it is.
And especially if you feel wound up and kind of like your energies are coming up. I became a Reiki master a while back and got really into
Fuck
energy.
yes. Nice,
And
dude.
I realized that mania is kind of like a condensed amount of overactive energy within your crown and root, or even your crown and the opposite, your third eye chakra or
Yeah.
whatever. And there's things you can do to pull that down. And once you pull that down to the lower energy centers, parts of your body, like it, it,
Yeah.
it it's just all up here and it needs to go
Needs to
down.
be
So grounding
dispersed.
exercise,
Yeah.
yeah, cold shower right on your noggin,
Yeah,
and
man.
some breath work, and then walking barefoot on the grass, doing what they're called in pranic healing. It's called just like a quarter squat. Do 50 of those, just
Yeah, man.
a quarter of a squat. It
Yeah.
kind of pushes that down, and
Nice.
our root.
Qigong's another one.
Oh, qigong is great.
Yeah, I love that shit.
That was well, Tai Chi was my introduction to energy healing.
Nice.
Back when I was working on the mobile crisis team, I started getting into Tai Chi, and I really felt a huge shift. And then I wanted to get into, I went to one of those holistic shops, and this guy sent some Reiki to a plant, and the leaves started wiggling. It was like 10 feet away from him. And I was like,
That's crazy, right?
how do you do that? And then I kind of got into it and was reading books on it and stuff. And then I went to a party, and there was a plant across the room, and I was like, I want to give it a shot. But I was like, okay, I gotta make these people, like I gotta believe it before I even do it. Willing to risk the embarrassment, And I was like, yo, look at that plant. And I did it, and it was like, whoa, and everyone at the party went crazy.
Fuck, that's awesome.
Okay. It's weird. And then after that, I just took a trip to New York and was at another like hotel gathering thing, and a bunch of people there. One lady started to get a headache. She gets them at the same time every night. And I was just like, I'm going to do my thing. And then her headache went away. She stayed for the rest of the night. And then everybody was asking me for,
that's sweet
and stuff. And yeah, the cool thing is that it gives you more confidence into understanding and feeling out your energy and where to, lift it up and lower it down.
I'm all for that. Like, I should get my ass in gear, because I've been talking about becoming a Reiki master myself, and I've had a girl on a podcast. She's like, I get really good vibes and energy from you. I think you'd be well suited. I've gone to a shamanic journey workshop, and the instructor said the same thing. I'm like, yeah, maybe for my own well-being and my family and dog and stuff too, maybe. But I think these are gifts that are given, and everybody can actually acquire these abilities. It's just a matter of practice, man. But I think for us, it's because we've been at the rock bottom, and probably multiple times. You and I both, I'm sure we can agree on that. So to have these extra tools on our tool belt is really beneficial for us and the people around us, for sure.
Yeah, it goes in line with just gaining faith in things that are bigger than the limited model. That why would we ever want to go to that for our guidance?
Yeah.
I don't get that. I don't see many success stories. I don't see much thriving. I'm been desperately searching for people and things and situations that have found that. And the odd thing is that within bipolar support, if that's what you want to call it, groups, I haven't come across, outside of you, many
Same,
people.
Dude.
Really?
It's kind of sad too. Like,
it is.
My heart bleeds for these other people. Oh shit. There we are. My heart bleeds for these people, man, because I see them like desperate, and it's kind of like the blind leading the blind, man. They haven't found the way.
That. And when someone says they have a problem, you're going to see 30 hopeless responses. Well, that's just how it is. It doesn't get better. I mean, like, no offense. I mean, I need to be more compassionate, because I understand that I was sucked into that paradigm at a point in my life. And I get that. I don't know to that extent where I would be completely aware of spreading hopelessness, because that's really what it is.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Honestly, I've met other bipolar people. I can't say bipolar. Nobody's bipolar. There's no such thing as a bipolar person. There's literally characteristics that need a label for diagnosing reasons. Yeah. But people that have been diagnosed with bipolar, and were thriving and doing amazing, and you would never tell they don't have any symptoms. Mm-hmm. It's people that I met after a healing seminar I paid to go to, and started talking, and they said they overcame this. They aren't anywhere on the chat rooms, nowhere at, DBS or whatever, little subsect of this huge model where they get all their information from. And it's just a shame. It breaks my heart to think like that. It's such a powerful limitation.
Yeah, it is. You know what we should do, man, Jordan? We ought to create a group and see how many people come forth, maybe even on fucking Facebook, ones who've recovered from bipolar, Well, I guess you'd have to word it differently to attract the right traffic, but it'd be kind of cool to have a support system for people who are enduring this, who've gone off abruptly or tapered, or the beginning stages of, how to incorporate, uh, holistical approaches to
Funny you
manage their
said that.
symptoms, right?
I was going to ask you if you want to do that
Dude,
because
it's fucking awesome. I'm aboard,
yeah,
all aboard, because you know what, man? I've always been, I never knew how to put it into terms to vocalize as a kid, but I always felt like I had a purpose in life, man, and it wasn't the 9 to 5 bullshit that everyone else wants to go through. It's like, we're not here to serve ourselves, man. We're collectively, you know, just one
yeah,
massive consciousness, and if people could grasp that concept, things would run so much smoother. We wouldn't be fighting each other. There wouldn't be jealousy, envy, and all the other shit that comes through.
yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to kind of stand up for other individuals and create something for the masses that could really,
Yeah.
take off. I've got a couple of other people that would probably be interested. Sabina, for sure. I think I had another one
That's
on there
funny.
too.
Um, Sabina's a pretty wise chick.
Yeah,
I
dude.
um I watched your guys talk for a bit, and it's so funny because I just got done with Power versus Force, which was one of the books she was
Yeah,
recommending,
dude. It's
and then
awesome.
I got this for my birthday, so I was like,
Oh fuck yeah, right?
what are the synchronistic weird like coincidences within that?
Yeah, man. Well, she just messaged me earlier today. Uh, was it? Or is it yesterday? Something about wanting to reach out to me. She wants to talk to me about something. Like, okay. And I was like, well, yeah, I got time later. And she said, not today. And I was like, okay. But it's fucking weird that, like, she was on the group. I think somebody commented on a status. And of course, I put my 2 cents in there. You're going to have people look at you funny or some people roll with it. But she was one of the girls that rolled with it. I'm like, fuck yes. And then she added me as a friend. And we just hit it off. We had a conversation before a podcast a day or two prior for like 45 minutes, and it's like, okay, cool. We got a different perspective on this whole origin of bipolarism and mental illness, and it's kind of like a new age awakening, if you will, for people to look outside of the labeled box. I'm all for thinking outside the box anyway. I don't like rolling with these labels and thinking this is all you have, man. It's like, fuck that, man. I want the meat and potatoes, man. I don't want just a shit salad that they're throwing out to us. We're gonna starve off that, right? We're always gonna be
Right.
sick. So yeah, man.
No, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll get
Um,
something geared up then.
I think it needs to happen. It needed to happen for a long time. Um, it's unfortunate that we're like 1% of 1%.
Yeah, buddy. I know.
And
Yeah,
it,
big time.
and
I've
I
seen so. No, sorry there, Jordan. Go ahead,
oh
buddy.
no, continue. Sorry.
Yeah, I was going to mention that I've seen so many people fall through the cracks with suicide and whatnot. And I've even lost my brother. I'm sure that if he was sitting in a psychiatrist's office, 6 years ago before his passing, uh, the psychiatrist would be checking out boxes. He'd be labeled the same shit, came from the same environment. We handled it differently, but you could see similarities in the way we conducted ourselves. And he chose the meds, the heavy fucking painkillers, and he had to go out like that, unfortunately. And if there was some type of lifeline for people to reach out to, not the hotline bullshit like, oh, I'm fucking depressed, suicidal, I want to reach out to somebody, because that's too. What's the phrase for that, man?
Um,
It's almost like a cardboard cutout, like. I've always said that to get the best advice, you need to seek the individual who's specialized in that field. And I don't mean textbook,
no, that's you hit the nail on the head. Yeah,
yeah, dude,
it's
you know?
exactly what needs to happen. Because you might have seen because we did meet online that
Yeah,
I just said, why are people commenting that haven't successfully done what the
yeah, dude.
individual is asking for information on?
Yep.
30 people giving their opinion saying doesn't work, it failed, blah blah blah. Why he didn't ask for that. He asked someone that successfully managed to overcome something to describe how that is possible.
Yeah.
So
Well, because
that
it's
needs
it's
to
uh,
be
it's kind of like shining. light in a darkened room, man.
Right.
It's almost like everyone's got fucking blinders on in there, and they're just like, no, no, it doesn't work. Shut up, keep your head down, and keep going. You know, this is
Yeah.
the life that we lead, and this is all there is to it. No, no, it's not, man. Two of us are living proof. Sabina's another one. She's been off meds, I think she said, for a year, but I mean, kudos to her. Like that's hardcore shit, and it's not an easy job, you know, or a journey to follow
And
through with.
the there's a common misbelief that people have about people that have overcome things, um, that their case was somehow inferior to
Yeah,
other people's, and I would
dude,
almost argue the opposite.
same.
I've been through a level of indescribable hell that makes the 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 journey just no there's no other option.
Yeah,
And I grew up religious. I didn't have, I don't know how to say this. Yeah, it's just suicide wasn't like a thing for me. um no matter how miserable. It's just, I don't know. um I could, that could be fortunate in that, in some regards. But yeah, I think that I lost my train of thought.
oh, it's all
So
good, buddy. It's all good.
I've done that
Um,
too many times. I try.
yeah, let's just put it this way. Like, I IOD when I was 20. Oh no, wait a minute, I'm lying. I was 19. Just before I traveled out, I did the same thing. I took off across Canada, hitchhiked, and I was in different provinces, man, homeless, fucking hang with people. But it was, you know, it was a good time in the beginning until I got captured, if you want to put it that way,
Right.
and then institutionalized for 4.5 months. But prior to all that, I OD'd, man, and tried to slice my wrist and shit. I was telling Sabina about it on the podcast here, and I came back from that. Like that was a handful of probably 130 pills, prescribed medication for sleeping insomnias, like my sister had,
Mhm.
and I was on antidepressants, which I think actually accelerated the process of this bullshit that I was enduring.
Yeah.
But when I came out of that, like I flatlined and pretty much fucking died. They brought me back, and it was from that day on I knew I had a higher purpose to serve in life than just
Yeah.
the average Joe doing his thing. And to put that in that verbalized content to other ones was quite difficult. You could probably uh, concur with it too, being raised in a religious formation like that. For the
Yeah.
witnesses, they're like, well, if you had this strong connection with the divine, then what happened? Or can you describe what it was like in detail? I'm like, I can't, man. There's just some things that you feel that you can't verbalize, right?
Yeah. And honestly, I don't really know how much religion gets you closer to God.
Uh, yeah. Well, the way I look at religion nowadays, I'm spiritual without religion. I find it's too confining, to progression and growth for that for people in general. Uh, it really boxes you in, just like everything else in society, man.
Yeah.
It's made to suppress you and hold you down, and I'm not about that. You know.
Yeah, and there's always a lot of good aspects, a lot of spiritual truths within a lot of biblical things, but it's just I just always think that, if God created us, He wouldn't require that we'd need eyes and an understanding to interpret a book.
Yeah,
And
dude.
so,
Through
I
somebody
just
else at that
when
at
I
that
think
point
of
too.
when I think of somebody being close to God, I think of like Tarzan.
Yeah, nice, nice.
You know,
Jordan, can you hold on a sec, dude? I gotta urinate right quick. You cool with that?
well,
Or do you want to
actually,
like?
I've got to get going.
Oh, right, you did say in the
Got
beginning. Yeah. All right, all
I'm
right.
running late for like first
So we'll do a
call.
part two after at some point, maybe. Um,
Yeah, yeah, let's talk, and yeah, do a do a part two, or I don't know. I'm sure I'll cringe the whole way through watching this.
you know what I do, honestly, Jordan? Like people are like, how'd you do? I'm like, I don't know, man. I kind of take it from like a musician's perspective or an actor, a lot of them don't really
Yeah.
revisit their performances, man. Like I've watched just a moment to see if the clarity is good with the audio and visual, but I won't sit there and watch my own content. I feel like a fucking idiot, dude. Like I have from day one, and I've been doing this for like 9 months now, right?
I think you look pretty professional and good. You have good questions, and
Thanks, buddy.
you have good composure and stuff. But yeah, for me, my voice is the worst nails on a chalkboard.
Yeah, we all have that, you know, conception about ourselves too, though. We don't like our own voice, or we
I
don't like
heard
the
that
way we
Johnny
look.
Depp doesn't watch his own movies or refuses to.
Well, that's what I'm saying, right? Because by doing so, it takes away from their natural abilities. So when they try to perform and, you know, go over their script for their next movie, potential movie, it's like, well, fuck, I gotta be somebody else, or I gotta, you know, measure up in a different manner. And yeah, so I say, don't view it, man. We'll just toss it out there to the cosmos and, you know, let people grab hold, take it from there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. All right, dude. I gotta urinate, like I mentioned, but we'll try to do part two, maybe the next couple of days if you got some free time. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Let's keep in touch.
All right, Jordan. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you coming on as a guest. As I mentioned, we'll throw those books that we discussed, and you know the different methods of holistical approaches to dealing with the symptoms of bipolar and everything surrounding it.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Jordan. Well, thank you very much. You take care, buddy.
All right.
All right. Bye bye.